Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Gyampo, a distinguished academic from the University of Ghana, has now stepped into a new role, acting Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority. His appointment has sparked intense debates, with reaction ranging from commendation to outright skepticism. Some question whether this move aligns with his previously declared independence, while others see it as a well-earned opportunity for a governance expert to contribute directly to national development. In this edition, we go beyond the headlines. We explore his vision for the Ghana Shippers Authority, his response to critics, and whether his transition from academia to public administration signals a shift in his well-known outspokenness. Prof, you're welcome to Hotissues.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you very much.
What was your initial reaction when you received the call about your appointment?
Oh, it was a pleasant surprise, and we had to take it in our strides. I had to spend almost the whole night not sleeping, thinking, because I've been in the University of Ghana. April 3rd this year will be 20 years. And I've had a lot of networks and lived with my colleagues and my superiors and all that. And there's so many things that I do for my people. So it was something
a tough decision to make?
that I had to think through. And my vice chancellor, who is like a sister to me, when she asked, "So my brother, are you leaving me?" I mean, it broke my heart. We had to think through all that, how I'm going to leave the university temporarily to be able to take up this, and how I'm going to do so in a manner that will ensure that I don't completely sever relations with them, but then I don't also lose focus on what I'm supposed to do. Well, all things that I was thinking, and how I was going to also be dealing with my UTAC people. I will tell you that this year, I'm sure I would have been occupying, I would have vied for maybe their top position or something. I have become so passionate about working for others and championing the cause of people that I work with. And so labor unionism is now part of me. And I was thinking that, look, I have to be able to stay the course and push a bit more harder for them. But this thing came in, and so we had to. You are being told that you are supposed to be serving, you know, at a national level, you know, in a higher office. So, that is what you have to do.
So you have resigned from UTAG, from, you know.
No, it's a process. I have to. Don't forget that I was appointed almost in the middle of a semester. I am teaching, and you can't just leave the students like that. So you have to teach, examine, grade, upload scripts and all that. It will take some time. So we are going through the processes. And,
of transitioning.
Yeah, so when at appropriate time, I'll speak to my people. But I know many of them are heartbroken. But I would always be with them physically and then also in spirit, regardless of where I find myself. Don't forget, I used to combine working at the Institute of Economic Affairs and teaching at the University of Ghana for 14 years, and nobody felt my absence there. So it's not something that I cannot do. I would stay on course.
Oh, so you keep your academia job and still do this one?
I have to leave, probably on secondment or something. But even if I leave, I'll try to maintain one course or so, teach on part-time, and then focus on what I would do at Shippers Authority. Yeah.
So, Prof, Shippers Authority, how uniquely qualified, are you, for this position?
Well, I think that if I judge myself, I'm humbled in the first place by the fact that President Mahama decided to say I should be the one to go there. I've led people before. Long time ago, I used to be the coordinator of the Ghana Political Parties program when I was working at the IA for 10 years. Met with the leadership of the political parties that had representation in Parliament to discuss issues of national importance in an apolitical manner and to make proposals for reforms as to how our democracy can be improved. And these were leaders who had different perspectives, party people, party leaders who had different perspectives as to how things would have to be done. But I was able to coordinate the affairs in a manner that ensured that anytime they met us, they were able to unite beyond their partisanship to discuss issues of national importance. It was that program that birthed the idea of constitution review. It was that program that birthed the preparation of the Presidential Transition Act. We had done a study that said that Ghana was so polarized and we had to depolarize the body politic. And in that study, it was unearthed that one of the causes of our polarization had got to do with our constitution itself. And the argument was made that even though it had served us well, it nevertheless contained provision that hindered the maturation of our democratization process. And so we first made the call for its review. I moved from the coordinator of the Ghana Political Parties program. And don't forget, I was working at the IA for 14 years. I worked under Jean Mensah for 14 years, and we dealt with so many issues, dealing with political party leaders who were providing funding for the political parties that had representation in Parliament. They brought their capacity building programs to us. I vetted them. It was upon my approval that MPP, NDC, CPP, PNC got money for their capacity building program. We have worked. Then, at the University of Ghana, I have served as the director for Center for European Studies. I did so for 5 years and brought all EU member countries and their reps together to dialogue with the center, to discuss issues with students, and they provided funding. And we held on to that position for 5 years. And recently, as you may be aware, I was elected the General Secretary of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, and then I moved on to become the president of the UG chapter of UTAG. And these are inquiring minds. You're talking about professors, senior lecturers, lecturers, associate professors, and all that. These are very critical people. If you write, if you speak, and there is no comma, they're able to point out to you. And by the grace of God, I've been able to work with them from my election up to now in a manner that has led to the improvement, in many of the things that were affecting them. And I'm sure I've had so many people coming to me that you served us so well. And so they are sad that I may have to transition into another position. So with these portfolios that I've managed, I believe that I am more than willing to, first of all, learn, and that those people I'll go and meet there, and to quickly adjust to provide a kind of leadership that will ensure that their core mandate of protecting the interest of shippers is achieved and is achieved in style. So we are not going there to...
Right, so Prof, well, there is no debate about your professional experience as an academic and a governance expert. Questions have been raised about whether or not you have the experience to be able to manage the Shippers Authority. And when you compare with your predecessors, the man who will be handing over to you has an MBA in finance and IT. The woman before then, herself also someone with a business experience. You, on the other hand, a professor of political science, an experienced academic and a governance expert. That has nothing to do with shipping.
Well, maybe you don't understand then the work that we do and the training that we even receive when we go to the university. The university education is supposed to make you universal in outlook. You are supposed to be given a kind of training that makes you moldable and receptive to learning and to be adjustable to everywhere that you go. I'm not sure that when you are coming here, you had a certificate in moderating hot issues, but you came in here, I'm sure on the job, you're able to. And so I think given what I've done in my life, my experience teaching, those people that are heading so many positions, those people that have been appointed or were appointed in previous government and have been appointed in this current government, some of them have not even had work experience before, but they have excelled. Okay, it means we taught them well in the university to make them adjustable to your new situations. And so if I've taught them for 20 years and they've excelled, you think I cannot excel when I go there? I doubt I would be able to do it.
You're sure this is not a square peg for a round hole problem?
I don't think so.
At all?
I don't think so.
You are not a square peg in a round hole?
No, I don't think so, because the president, I'm sure, assessed me. Let me tell you that this is not the first time the President Mahama has approached me. The first time he got in touch with me was in the lead up to 2016 elections. And I think that you have what it takes to be a representative in Parliament, and so go to your constituency in Fantiman to be an MP. And well, I remember Akwanas Kwanza then was the minister, Central Regional Minister, and also MP for Fantiman. I drove there to tell him that Akwanas, go tell Mr. President, I am grateful for the confidence he has in me, but I don't think that I'm ready. The second time he got in touch with me, I was a visiting professor at the University of Bristol in 2018, where I think Boatin Shemanti Ejakon died. Okay, and he called. I was in Bristol, London, and then Bristol, UK. And then he said, well, there is a vacant seat. Will you want to contest? I said, Mr. President, I am not an NDC man. And he said something that I thought was profound. He said, we are not looking for an NDC man to go contest that seat. We are looking for a Ghanaian and somebody who is competent, who will be able to win the seat and serve the constituents and by extension serve Ghana. Even that, I wasn't so agreeable to the call, so I turned it down. The third time is for me to be asked to hold this position. I'm sure that he himself, he's assessed me for a long time. And if he thinks that I'll be able to do it, I think I would humbly agree with his own judgment about me.
I see. Prof, you wrote a paper or co-wrote a paper on maritime security.
Yes.
It's sponsored by DANIDA and the University of Copenhagen.
Yes.
How does that knowledge help you deal with your new role?
Well, we talk about Ghana Shippers Authority, and people always think it's about the Marines. No, it's about shipping. You ship on the road, okay? You ship on the sea, and then you ship also in the air. So it's three. So it's not only about what happens on the sea. But I had an extensive relationship with some scholars from the University of Copenhagen, their Department of Political Science there, where they gave me some research work. I did that in collaboration with a lot of people, including the currently appointed CEO of the Ghana Maritime Authority, where we looked at how we can build capacity in promoting security on the high seas. It was an extensive program, successful program. And I think the insights that I got there, how you can deal with pirates and how the high seas can be made safe, how we can address illegal fishing through illegal means, and how we can ensure that the sea, the integrity of our high seas do not get compromised and all that. These are things that I studied and I got much information and insight into, that I believe that when it comes to that aspect of Shippers Authority's job that deals with their work on the high seas would come in handy. I can fall on them to help me in discussing with people I'll be working with and taking the best decisions as to how shippers' interest on the high seas will be promoted.
I see. Your critics say that this position that you have now is a reward for your work over the period, over the period of criticizing the previous administration. How do you respond to those critics?
Well, I mean, critics saying this, oh, it's a democracy, and people are entitled to what they want to say. Some easily forget, some are ignorant. Go to Ghana's history. I started this work of subjecting governments to strict proof in J. Kufuor's time. Look at my work, Ministerial Appointment and Government Expenditure in Ghana's Fourth Republic. I did that study because of J. Kufuor, who had criticized Jerry Rawlings for having 82 ministers. And then when he got to become the president, he had 88 ministers. I criticized him severely, and then that forced me to go into that study to look at how much it costs to hire just one minister. And throughout the tenure of J. Kufuor, I criticized him. When President Mills was the president of Ghana, I was the man who told him that we don't need a moralist as a president who will stand for a certain virtue and would not be able to translate, or that virtue would not translate or would not affect his appointees. So it is not enough for you to say mepe asumdwe when your appointees are not peaceful. It is not enough to say, as for me, if I'm traveling, I will not take per diem when your appointees were doing same. Okay, it was under him that we had Jerry Rawlings had their coinage babies with sharp teeth. He didn't want people to be insulting, but his young appointees were insulting. So I criticized him. And if it gets to John Mahama, the least said about him, the better. We were part of those who pushed him into opposition. We took him on critically. We subjected him to street proof. You can Google me and see the days of John Mahama. We were part of those who subjected him to street proof, and we gave him huge, monumental criticisms with the view, not out of malice, but with the view to ensuring that he did the right thing. And so we're part. When we felt that, look, where it's gotten to, we had a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope in President Akufo-Addo. We felt that it's important that we push President Mahama away. And we pushed him away. But the fact that we pushed President Mahama away didn't mean that we were going to be silent when Akufo-Addo was not performing well. And so we had to take Akufo-Addo on. And sometimes people would have to understand that we too, that is who we are. I cannot look at what you are doing, and if it is wrong, I would say that it's because I supported your bid to becoming elected as president, and so I wouldn't keep quiet. Maybe if people have that view about me, then they don't know me. So go and ask G Mensa when I was working with him at the IE. When she was paying me a staff meeting, I disagreed with her. Okay, go to the University of Ghana. I mobilized people to go on demonstrations, sometimes against my own management. Okay, no, sorry, go on strike, sometimes against my own people. When my application for promotion to the rank of full professorship was being considered, I was at loggerheads with my provost. I didn't care. I mean, if I find it unreasonable, if I find something wrong, I cannot keep quiet, I have to say. And so when we compared what John Mahama had did, that we thought was shambolic, to what President Akufo-Addo was doing, that was super shambolic. I had no option than to subject that regime, the previous regime, also to street proof. But so that was what we sought to do. And if after doing that, President Mahama feels that, look, you criticized President Akufo-Addo, and then I have been elected. I want you to come and play a role in my government. Must I say, because I criticized President Akufo-Addo, I wouldn't serve the government, I wouldn't serve the nation? I think it is a certain display of low-key intelligence for people to say that once you critiqued the previous regime, if you accept an appointment in the current government to serve Ghana, not to serve a political party, but to serve Ghana, you all of a sudden become a member of that party. I mean, it betrays our own sense of appreciation, of the issues. Who told you? When we hounded President Mahama out of power. If Akufo-Addo had approached me and said that, look, we think that we can serve Ghana, not party. We think that we can serve Ghana in this particular way, and so come and help, I would have accepted it. But he felt that with his appointment, he had to surround himself with a certain caliber of people. And so be it. If they performed, you take the glory. If they malfunction, you take the blame. And so
it's not a
let me make this point. So I believe that it is part of good governance for a leader who is elected to be open-minded and to be competent and humble enough in looking at in having a total audit of the nation's human resources with the view to selecting those who he think can help govern the country. When they govern the country and the nation becomes developed, then your political party can cash in benefiting from the development. And so it is President Mahama's duty to look for those he thinks can help him govern well. Sometimes outside of his political party. This man, Professor Kwesi Prempeh, has been appointed to lead the Constitution Review Committee's work. He's not an NDC man. So does he suddenly, and he was criticizing President Akufo-Addo, does he suddenly become an NDC man?
Right. So hang on. Perhaps it may not be a reward, but it may be to keep you quiet. I'll have you answer that when we come back from the break. Don't go. Edition is acting CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor of Political Science, Ransford Gyampo. Again, thank you so much for talking to us. But the issue is, perhaps this may not be a reward, as you have explained, but it is to keep you quiet.
But Ransford Gyampo, can I keep quiet? I cannot. Maybe that's how I was also created. I am told I talk, even in my sleep. And so I can't keep quiet.
So you will criticize the government?
If it is right, we'll comment. If it is wrong, we'll talk about it. You see, the difference that I see, okay, anytime you heard me speaking publicly, it means that I did not have the opportunity to speak privately to articulate my concerns. Okay, so I told you earlier that when I was working with Jim Mensah at the IEA, there were 10 times that we disagreed, but you never heard me talking about it publicly because I had an opportunity to ventilate my grievance directly. And so, why not? And in my work at the IEA, we sought to influence also public policy. And one of the ways of doing so was to do things behind the scenes for effect. And so you not hear us in the public talking about something, but if you have the opportunity, you go to the policymaker and engage the person with a view to influencing him or her so that they do what is right. And so the point is this: if I have access to the president, if I have access to my minister, if I have access to people who are able to do X, Y, Z to improve the lot of Ghanaians, and there are issues that I find wrong, the sensible thing to do is to speak to them directly, and I'll do so.
Which means you will not openly
let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
The sensible thing to do is to try to draw their attention and say, hey, this and this and this that you are doing are not right, and so address them. Okay? You would hear me coming out publicly, I've indicated, you hear me coming out publicly only when I feel that avenues for ventilating my concerns about what I think is wrong are blocked. And in the previous administration, they were one, blocked. Number two, you had some of their communicators coming in to tell you that, Prof. Gyampo, it isn't that what you are saying is not true. It is true. But we have a president who does not like being told the right thing, especially coming from people outside of his government. Who can intimidate? But I don't see that with President Mahama because, look, I went to him and asked, President Mahama, you have only 4 years. What do you need 4 years power for? He said, Ransford Gyampo, I want the 4 years to reset Ghana and to leave a legacy so that I can go. So people, my legacy would outlive me. So I feel that a person like that with such a mentality, if you go to him and proffer an advice or offer a critique, he will take it in his stride so that it will not have to get into the public. But if it becomes necessary that it comes to the public, you would see me here on key points. I have not abandoned what I'll be doing on key points. So you hear from me. So I am assuring Ghanaians. I said it the other time that, look, me runs for Gyampo, I cannot keep quiet. That's how I was created. If it is right, we will speak about it. If it is wrong, we would criticize it. And if it is necessary that we do so in public, you hear me doing so.
I see. What happens to political neutrality? You were supposed to be the neutral voice here.
Political neutrality. See, a line of distinction must be drawn between neutrality and objectivity. Okay? Neutrality means you are not taking sides. The car is not going, it's not on D, it's not on P, it is on N. You are not taking sides. Okay? So I am not MPP man. I am not NDC man. On that score, I am neutral. But when it comes to decision making, you make decision based on a set of variables and information that you have. And based on that, you must go on right, or you must go to right, or you must go to left, based on the information that you have. And so I voted in the last election. It is on Aristotle said man is by nature a political animal. Okay? He says that man, we should, when Max Weber was talking about the need for some of us to be politically neutral, he didn't say we shouldn't vote. Okay? He said you shouldn't be identified with one party or the other. You shouldn't be seen to be adorning yourself with one party paraphernalia. You shouldn't be seen to be campaigning for one party. That's what he meant by political neutrality. So it means that regardless of neutrality, you must vote. But when it comes to voting, you must then look at the information that you have. I voted for MPP in 2016, and in 2020, I drove from here to Achemfo, Hammond or Sopon to go and vote for them. Okay, I had assessed, then in 2024, I had assessed what they had done. Okay, and then I had looked at what President Mahama had also done previously and compared it to also the kinds of things he said he was going to do. Based on this information that I had to make a choice, and that's what we say objective choice. Okay, so I've heard people saying that, oh, but you guys were the neutrals, and so why do you go into government? It is unthinkable. You see, just as Ghana, we go to borrow money for the construction of roads, just as we go and borrow money for the building of hospitals, just as we go to borrow money for constructing major infrastructure projects, I would respectfully call on President Mahama that during his government, we must also look for money to deal with public ignorance. Because one of the features of every developing country is that the public itself, you may have some huge chunk of the public itself being ignorant. So let me come home to answering that question you asked. So yes, you've been a neutral, okay? They see you as a neutral, and so you are not NDC, you are not MPP. Then the government comes and tells you that, look, even though you are neutral, we want you to come and serve. And then you say that because I'm neutral, I cannot serve. You see, in my view, it is actually unpatriotic, it is actually nation-wrecking, and it's actually a show of lack of commitment to the nation's cause to criticize a regime for wrongdoing and to refuse an opportunity to go help right what is wrong in the service of not a political party, but in the service of a nation. So I do not see why you are neutral. A government feels that you can do something and do it well, and they say, even though I have the knowledge, even though I have the competence, even though I have what it takes to help develop Ghana, because I'm neutral, I will not do it. You are a nation wrecker who is not worth your salt, and you must not have a place in the nation's governance process or in the nation's existence.
I see, but
and so I'm telling them that it doesn't make sense to tag somebody as neutral and to say that because he's neutral, even though he can do something to help Ghana, we should dissipate that national human resource because he's neutral.
Do you still consider yourself a neutral?
I am not NDC, I am not MPP.
No, but you work with the NDC government now.
I work with the government of the day to serve...
Which is NDC?
Well, so I work with the government of the day to serve Ghana. And if per my work output, there is something good that comes from it, and the party in power would want to cash it as part of their achievement, so be it. But at the end of the day, my vision and my commitment and my resolve is to serve Ghana by brightening the corner that I have been placed, and not to serve political parties.
Let's look at some of the thought processes that we've had. 2016, you voted for NPP. 2020, you voted for NPP. Now, because you didn't get anything from the 8 years of the NPP, you criticized them and started gunning for the...
No, don't say that. No, don't say that.
Let me finish so that people can understand where I'm going.
Let us correct it. Don't say because you didn't get anything. I was not part of J.
Were you offered anything?
No, I was not part of J. Kufuor's government. Okay? I was not part of J. Kufuor's government. I criticized them. I was not part of Atamel's government. I criticized him. I was not part of President Mahama's government. I criticized him. I was not part of Akufo-Addo's government. I criticized him. I am part of this particular government, and by being asked to serve as the acting CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. And I'm telling you that I would offer same criticism. This time, because of access, I'll give it to them directly. But where the access is blocked, you would hear me coming out publicly about it. I've told you.
Well, yeah, I know that.
Yes.
So
let's not go...
You should have waited for where the question was going. In that, I was asking whether or not you planned this whole thing to ensure that you get a position in this government.
I planned this whole thing to do what?
So that you get a position in this...
A position for what?
John Mahama II government.
Go to the University of Ghana campus. By the grace of God, I'm a comfortable man. Go there and ask. By the grace of God, I ran the Gyampo consult. By the grace of God, I'm comfortable. So it's not about you would look for a position or what. It's about service to Ghana. Okay? We've served 20 years teaching. Okay? And doing other things. So if you are called, don't forget that I've told you that this is about the third time. If you are called to come and serve at that higher national level, then that's your point in time. Let's give it a try. Besides, yes, 20 years teaching, is it not tiring? Isn't it good for you to take a certain break, go and see how things happen elsewhere, and come back? Okay, because let me say, so for the past 20 years, I've not also been on leave. 20 years working, I've not gone on leave before. Okay, and so I think that it is not about what you are saying, that you are looking for a position.
Well, planning your exit from academia.
No, so that no. Where my criticisms...
So let's put it all together. Your experience is in politics, governance, and academia, and you are not... Are you a member of the NDC?
No.
No. You are not a member of the NDC. The area where you have been put to is not in politics, governance, or academia. You've been put into Shippers Authority. And what you're telling us that it is not a reward. You didn't plan to get this either. The president just decided that you are competent and gave you that position.
The one, don't have that reductionist view of all that I've said. I'm sure Ghanaians are listening, and so they have heard me loud and clear. So please listen to me carefully so that my answers would shape your further question, because it's like that you are asking me to be repeating myself. The one who is outgoing is not a shipper. The previous one was not.
I've told you.
I'm saying wasn't
the one who will be handing over to you.
He's not.
Has an MBA in finance.
Yeah. So, listen. The best. Let me tell you. I don't want to. Well, let me not say that. But you see, we've had even at the national level. At the national level, people who lead us as presidents. I'm asking you, at the national level, people who lead us as presidents, do they have some of the things? Do they have some of the qualifications that I have? But they are smart. Some of them are smart because they know that you don't have to have all the qualifications to lead as national president. A smart president is he who appreciate the fact that even though I am the president, I don't know it all. I don't have all the qualifications. So he's able to assemble a team so that the team will govern for him, and then he takes the glory. You're a smart president. And so the point is not about, oftentimes in my experience and given what I've known, people who are overly qualified about certain areas, when they are sent there, they go and malfunction. I know one bank, a friend of mine who was given an award as a banker. She studied Swahili, philosophy, and another, is it drama or dance? And later when she decided to apply herself to the idea of wanting to be a banker, she excelled. And today she is at the top level. So the point is about leadership. There are directors, there are people who are already there. Okay? There are directors, there are people who are already there. They've had experience and they've done the work for many years. You are just supposed to provide leadership. And you know the meaning of leadership? It is not headship. It's one's ability to inspire confidence in the people, influence them so that they give you enthusiastic cooperation to help you achieve what you have set for yourself. And that one, I know by the grace of God, I can do it.
All right. What would you say your leadership style is?
As president of UG-UTAC, for instance, I mean, I've always had my executive council. I've always had my executive members, and decisions are discussed. And at the end of the day, what the majority decides that we do, I am the chief supporter and defender and implementer of what my team all agree that we do. And so even though you see me as a strong-willed person, even though people feel that, yes, I'm a man of my own conviction and order, when you are working with people, you must listen to them. You are not wiser than all of them. And so even if there is something that you strongly feel about, there is a way to articulate it and bring them all on board to own it. But if at the end of the day, majority feel that what you are saying doesn't make sense, you must pander to other views. As an academic, that is how we are trained. Otherwise, if I write my paper, research paper, I'll publish it myself. But in academia, if you write your research paper, it is sent to other people to give their views. Sometimes they tell you that what you've written is nonsense, and you must take it in your stride to come and improve the quality of the paper. So I know how to work and to be tolerant of dissenting views, because I'm a Democrat.
I see. What do you hope to achieve at the Shippers Authority?
At the end of the day, their core mandate of protecting the interests of shippers should be achieved in full. They should be able to do what they have been set out to do without much challenges, without much problems. I mean, if we go through, yesterday I was just going through their act. Yesterday I started going through the handing over notes. I saw a few work in progress that I don't want to talk about them because I'm yet to meet with the various directors. So, but I saw a few things that are going, our gone CEO had left, and how he had started. It's a fine gentleman, what he had done and what he feels should be done. And it's even assurance that, for example, I have worked here for 14 months, and I have a certain sentimental attachment to the place. And so I want to see the place run properly and all the challenges, surmounted. And so because of that, I'm pledging that, look, anytime you call me, I would come. If you need my assistance, anytime you call me, I'll come in. I thought it was a fantastic show of maturity by the outgone person. And so we would work with all of them to ensure that the core mandate of the place is achieved in a manner that makes everybody happy, particularly shippers.
I see. Let's talk about the chaos during the vetting process, away from your appointment issues. The chaos broke out on Thursday when the MPs gathered to vet. How did you feel about that?
It was unfortunate. When I was watching it, I blinked my eye several times because I felt it wasn't true or I wasn't seeing well. Look, in other democracies where you have hung parliament, people fight. In other jurisdictions that have developed democracies, sometimes there are fisticuffs. Sometimes people throw chairs at each other. Okay, but in Ghana, we have shown clearly that we want to climb higher the ladder of democratic progression. And so because of that, we cannot use the bogus practices elsewhere to justify what we want to begin to do. Okay, so we must only be seen to be copying from best practices. So what happened there is not something that has not happened before anywhere. Okay, it's happened. It happens to other countries. But I think that our standards we have shown are high. When we were going to go into this 2024 election, I have so many friends abroad who had expressed worry and concern as to whether we'll be able to survive because it was a keenly he felt it was going to be keenly competitive election. And if you don't take care, the possibility of such keenly competitive election degenerating into chaos is always high. I told them that the people of Ghana have resolved that democracy is the way to go. And so I don't think that we would...
What this tells us is that we didn't learn from the events of the 8th Parliament, but I'll come back and take your thoughts on that. Don't go away.
In a world where every moment counts, one team stands ready to deliver the news that shapes our lives. A team driven by truth, integrity, and unwavering dedication. They travel to the front lines in the tireless pursuit of truth to bring you the world stories like never before. Get ready to witness the stories that matter. We have the most trusted voices in journalism who are committed to delivering accurate, balanced, and thought-provoking news. TV3, first in news.
Welcome back. You're still live on Hot Issues. My guest is acting CEO of Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Gyampo. Prof, again, thank you so much for your patience here. This could be symptomatic of the fact that our MPs didn't learn from the events of the 8th Parliament when a similar situation or event broke out.
Well, I think that maybe what happened the last time in the 8th Parliament, maybe there were no sanctions. We just brushed it aside as a people. And so that's how come then some people will do this. But I'm happy to note that I'm told Speaker Bagbin has cracked a certain whip, suspending some people. And I believe, you see, when Bagbin was elected, I felt that it was a victory for parliamentary democracy. And I was surprised that people were even paranoid as to whether he was going to be elected. He had clearly acquitted and discharged his duty. So the point I'm making is that I am happy that he's taking some measures, cracked the whip, suspending some people. And I believe that going forward, given what has happened and the punishment that is being meted out to those who were found culpable, we would not continue on that tangent as Parliament. But clearly, it was unfortunate. These are honorable people who were supposed to, you could just disagree, you could just walk away and order. And you could even decide that, look, we are not leaving, but we are not allowing the processes to go on. That will still be within. But to break chairs, look, at the students' front, previously, anytime students went on procession and demonstration, they broke chairs, they destroyed public property and all that. we have now been able to socialize them into accepting the fact that you can dissent, you can go on your procession, you can go on demonstration, whilst we leave public property intact. So if among the little young students, they are now, or they have now appreciated the fact that they can express dissent, go on procession without destroying public property, then I find it difficult to understand why or how members of parliament, who are supposed to be honorable people, would be angry to the point of breaking chairs and tables.
But this same suspension that you have commended, the minority caucus in parliament have condemned it because they question what power the speaker is using to suspend their people, or the MPs who have been suspended. Your thoughts on that?
Well, so I don't know. So they wanted it to be a jungle situation. They wanted it to remain chaotic. I think that the majority group must be commended for being tolerant, overly tolerant of the minority group. You see, Poly 341, ancient and medieval political thought. I teach my students. Aristotle's talk about democracy and the need to avoid tyranny of majoritarianism. He simply says that it should be majority rule. Majority must always have their way. But regardless, we should, as much as possible, try to be tolerant of the minority and factor their views and whatever they stand for into the views of the majority. But I think that, you see, majority group, they can do without, given the overwhelming numbers, they can do without the minority group. But I suspect that they know, you see, if you are very powerful, you don't rush to do things. I know that they appreciate the enormity of powers and influence that they have, but at the same time, they want to have the minority group being carried, along. And that's how come they've been very patient with them. But I think that that is not, you see, democracy is about majority rule. That tolerance posturing of the majority group is not licentious for minority tyranny and minority wanting to now dictate as to how things must be done. So if they have condemned, so what were they expecting Bagwin to do? That everybody should keep quiet, we should sweep it under the carpet. I have said that IGP Dampari, we know.
They thought there should have been a debate on the incident.
I have said that Dampari is on record to have arrested members of parliament and government officials for violating traffic rules. And it is not possible for people to destroy public property or state property and for us to sweep it under the carpet. And so I'm saying that we should go to the extent of asking Dampari, the IGP, to arrest those culpable for destroying properties that we use my taxes and your taxes to procure.
Which is what the speaker has ordered. But the minority is saying, look, we should have had a debate on the incident and collectively as a house taking a decision on how to deal with it. I don't
know what they mean by that. It is. You cannot, I do not see, you see, regardless of the level of their disagreement and frustrations, and there is no way you can justify what went on. And so, how do you, who went to do that, become part of a debate about your wrongdoing? Something that clearly the good people of Ghana, who have given mandate to these guys to govern and have expressed dissatisfaction about. How do you expect that the same person who did these things that are untoward will go and sit down and say that, look, I admit that what I did was wrong? You cannot be judging your own matter like that. And so if you have a speaker who was not there taking a decision and giving a ruling that, look, given what has gone on, and he did he suspend only the minority group?
No.
He suspended members from the majority group, one person from majority. And so then what are we talking about? I think that it is democratic. Minority would have to be heard, but let us be careful. The argument against tyranny of majoritarianism is not licentious for minority governance.
For the chaos that took place, the minority side has also blamed the clerk who was administering work for the committee on that day. Is there any justification for that?
No, I've said it already. I'm saying, look, I don't think that they are people who they are mad people. They are not mad. Certainly, something provoked them. something pushed them into doing whatever they have done. But I'm saying that what they did is so wrong that regardless of whatever provoked them, that thing that provoked them cannot be used as a justification. Okay, so whether the clerk did something right or did something wrong, okay, regardless of the explanations, we cannot justify what had happened. And so I am in full support of the decisive action that has been taken by the Speaker of Parliament. And I know that going forward, tomorrow, if you are going to carry a chair, okay, then you know that the good people of Ghana will hoot at you, and then there would also be consequences.
Is the vetting committee or the appointments committee performing? Are they doing their job well? Yes and no. I think that yes, because there are some of them that through interrogation I've gotten to know them better. Okay, this Abuja, I mean, the way and manner he was interrogated, I didn't know that he knew even much about his area. But, and then quite a number of them. It's just that, you see, you cannot know somebody by asking him questions in perpetuity. Okay, you should be smart enough to know somebody by asking him a few questions and judging his demeanor and his responses. You should be able to make up your mind. Now, when you say this, people say that, oh, but they quizzed Ufuriata for 2 days. And I said that, so what? They quizzed him for 2 days. When they did that, some of us felt it was wrong. We are in a habit as a nation of using bogus practices to justify today's bad practice. They quiz somebody two days, and so we must continue on that tangent. I think it is not good. And I'm hearing that there is some ground rule that may have been accepted by both parties that the minority leader can ask unlimited questions. And I'm saying that I don't think that if they have that rule, the intention is truly to give him that unfettered and unlimited chance to ask all manner of questions. Because if you don't take care, what people may not have thought about is that you may have a leader who said that because I've been given chance to ask unlimited questions, he asks a question the whole day and will tell you that tomorrow will continue. Tomorrow comes and you tell that, give me 1 month to be asking questions, because you've given him unlimited opportunity to be asking questions. And at the end of the day, you may have a vicious person who would prevent or who use that opportunity to prevent government from being not asking any questions. So what questions are they asking?
Well, but my point is that, see, vetting is vetting. Okay, if they are not asking any question, it is bad. Okay, because the idea is to be able to ask questions that will bring out what is in them. Okay, so that we all can also be part of the judges as to their competence and all that. So if they are not asking questions, we tell them to ask. But then the point is that it does not then mean that if somebody is not asking, another must ask throughout the day and all that. Because I'm saying this again, you get a minority leader who may be very vicious. Let me make this point, please. Quickly. You get a minority leader who may be very vicious and will say that, well, I'm going to ask questions for 1 month. And the idea will be that, yes, you said I should ask questions in perpetuity. And he will do so just to prevent the ruling party from forming its government. And so if there is any rule like that, I ask that that rule should be interrogated so that you don't encourage people to ask questions in perpetuity. And some of the questions, you ask yourself, what is the relevance of this question? Who is your mother? How does a response to that question prove your competence?
Thank you for coming and talking to us.
My pleasure.
Professor Ransford Gyampo is acting CEO for the Ghana Shippers Authority. I'm Kemini Amanor, and this is Hot Issues. Bye-bye.
The winner of Talented Kids Season 15.
The wait is finally over. Talented Kids Season 16 is back, and it is set to be the most thrilling season. Prepare to be amazed by the mesmerizing performance,
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.